What's up everyone, Kyle here. You're watching Drivin and Vibin. Today's video is all about 20 of the best free campsites in the USA, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the channel everyone. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm excited to be filling you in on 20 of the best free campsites in the USA. These sites can accommodate anything from tents and vans to huge rigs, and hey, they're located all throughout the country. So before we dive into this list, it is 20 spots long, but we're gonna be running through the information pretty quick to keep it fast paced. So if at any time you want to reference these 20 spots, you can click the article either in the link or in the comment section. That will follow along spot for spot as we work our way down the list to number 1. And you can bookmark it for the future if you want to visit these campsites sometime down the road. Without any further ado, let's jump in at number 20 and work our way to number 1. Coming in at number 20 is NATCHEZ Visitor Center in NATCHEZ, Mississippi. Now, this is an unlikely spot on the list because at the end of the day, it is a visitor center parking lot. That doesn't sound like the most attractive thing in the world, but rest assured, this is a beautiful campsite. It's located on a bluff overlooking the Mississippi River. You have the NATCHEZ Visitor Center right there, but best of all, they provide free water and electric for anyone camping at the visitor center. You can stay there for I think 2 or 3 nights, and you can also access the southern portion or the southern entrance of the NATCHEZ Trace right there from the visitor center. So if you want to do the NATCHEZ Trace, whether you're starting or ending in NATCHEZ, it's a great place to camp for a few days. Now, all size rigs can camp here. It's a big old parking lot. The only thing I would caution people on is that a lot of the spots are uneven, so you're either gonna just have to sleep uneven for the evening, or you can put a few blocks down. But some of the sites are pretty uneven. But overall, beautiful, beautiful free campsite within walking distance to downtown. And hey, free water and electric, you can't beat it. Let's jump over to number 19. Coming in at number 19 is Naval Observation Road, and this is in Flagstaff, Arizona. One reason we love Flagstaff is because it's just north of Sedona, but not only is it north, it is at a higher elevation. So once you get those hot days in Sedona, you can really retreat to Flagstaff and camp in these awesome forested free campsites. Naval Observation Road is probably 7 miles from downtown Flagstaff. Tons of shopping and restaurants, stuff like that. But it's also tucked far enough away that you can have a lot of privacy in this forested campground. We saw rigs of all sizes when we camped here, definitely fifth wheels and motorhomes, but the smaller your rig is, the more tucked back in a private spot you can get. But you know, either way, no matter what size rig you have, you should be able to camp here. My only word of caution for this campsite is that if you stay to the right, you're gonna go up to the Naval Observatory, which there are so many signs that say regular vehicles aren't allowed up there. And if you do continue to follow it, you're gonna come to a gate that's kind of hard to turn around. So just take heed on those signs and don't go up that road. Number 18 on our list today is Blankenship Bridge. This is right outside of Glacier National Park. In all honesty, I would have put this spot in the top 5 at least, but it can only fit small rigs. So if you have even a Class C, I would be super hesitant about taking it back there because the road in is very rutted and it can be challenging. With all of that said, it is beautiful, beautiful waterfront camping right on this rocky riverbed. You really can't ask for a more beautiful free campsite so close to Glacier National Park. Now, if you want to get into the water, like Olivia did, it's gonna be super cold. Some people go in there and swim. I could barely put my toes in there because the water was so cold. But there are tubers, rafters, and fishers all taking part in the water activities there. So hey, bring your fishing pole. You might be able to catch some dinner too. Coming in at number 17 on our list is Lake Elk City Park. This is on Route 66 in Elk City, Oklahoma. One of the reasons we love this park is because it's very easy to access from the interstate, making it a great overnight spot, but the park is located on a lake with disc golf courses, with bathrooms, with pavilions and picnic tables and outdoor grills, and best of all, they also provide free water and electricity. You can't go wrong. It's not often there's free electricity and water and a beautiful camping spot right off the interstate. So easy to access. All size rigs can camp here. I'm not completely sure about how level it would be in a larger rig, but from our experience, we've camped there at least 3 times. Every time it's been super easy to get situated and plugged up to that electricity. Number 16 on our list is American Girl Mine. This is right outside of Yuma, Arizona, but it's actually across the border in California, located in Winterhaven. There's not much at this campsite, but that's kind of the beauty of it because it's open Southern California desert where you can bring so many friends, gather around the campfire and just have a great friend camping experience. There is an interstate rest stop right near American Girl Mine where you can fill up with water and you can dump your trash. But other than that, the amenities are sparse out there. But on the plus side, the cellular internet is blazing fast. So it's a great boondocking location where you can spread out, big rigs can access it, and you can have fast internet access. So we have camped at American Girl Mine for the last 4 winters and love it, and hey, can't wait to come back. Number 15 on the list is Blackwell Horse Camp south of Bloomington, Indiana. Any free campsite east of the Mississippi River is a very valuable commodity. They are just not as easy to come by as they are out west. We really liked Blackwell Horse Camp because it is a huge, lush, grassy field with kind of a figure 8 style road that goes through it. So lots of camping options, and they have 2 central bathhouses there. And if you have horses, I mean, that's what it's made for. It's encouraging horse campers to get out there and take their horses out on the trail. All size rigs can fit here. They make this spot very accessible because they expect you to take your large horse trailer there. And if you want to get out for the day, you can go up to Bloomington, have lunch. They have a nice historic downtown area. We definitely explored there for a day or so and had a good time at Blackwell. Again, it was as we were working our way from Alabama to Michigan, and it was just great to find a free campsite, so beautiful. And River, our dog, really enjoyed it too. All right guys, so next up on the list is CEBOLLA Mesa. This is just north of Taos, New Mexico. This is another spot that would be in my personal top 5. But it didn't make it quite that high on this list because it is hard to access if you're in a large rig. This is ideal for small travel trailers, maybe even a risky Class C driver could make the trip out there. But there's a lot of low-hanging branches and kind of sharp turns as you get to the campground, which is down a pretty long dirt road. But it's the payoff of the campsite that makes it such an amazing spot. You're on a cliff overlooking the Rio Grande Gorge. You can hike down to the bottom of it. Olivia and I did it. We almost died. We definitely wouldn't recommend it if you're not prepared for a long hike because the elevation change is huge. You're hiking down the canyon to the Rio Grande River. It's a challenging hike, but well worth it. And overall, the campsite is just gorgeous, and it's a great place to camp for free near Taos without having to be in the hustle and bustle of Taos. And another great thing is that we had wonderful cellular internet at this location, which seems to make no sense because it is in the middle of nowhere, it seems. Once you get out there down that dirt road and you're sitting on that cliff, you feel like you have the whole place to yourself. But hey, at the same time, you're working with fast 4G LTE internet, so best of both worlds at CEBOLLA Mesa. Highly recommended by us. Next up is Oliver Reservoir in Nebraska. Nebraska is not one of our go-to states when we think of travel destinations, but this campsite truly is beautiful. It's located on a nice man-made body of water, but the great part is no one comes to this campground. So you can camp lakeside and have it all to yourself. When we were there were probably 4 other campers, but the park is huge. If you find yourself in Nebraska and you want to get something scenic, definitely check out Oliver Reservoir because it is so much more than just cornfields. The downside is that there is a train track near the campground, and the train track does run all hours of the day and night. Those type of things don't necessarily keep us up, but if you are sensitive to sound, you might want to consider that before you camp at Oliver Reservoir. But otherwise, it is a hidden gem in Nebraska with waterfront camping, so that's a big win for us. Next up is number 12, and this is Padre Island National Seashore. It's what they call North Beach, located just before the visitor center of Padre Island, and it is free camping on the beachfront. All size rigs can camp there, but the thing is, you have to be brave enough to drive on sand, and you have to constantly watch the tide. The tide will change daily, and if you are camped too close to the water, that tide will sweep your RV away. We were intimidated learning about this before we camped there, but once we did camp there, we felt pretty safe about the tide movements. We arrived during high tide to get an idea of what the highest marker is gonna be, and then just parked back from there, and it was a great beachfront campsite. One more thing you're gonna wanna keep in mind is that this is Gulf front beach camping, which means a lot of salt water is going to be blown up on your RV or your tow vehicle. Whatever you're bringing down there is going to get covered with salt water. There's a lot of truck and car washes right outside the area, so you can spray it down, but I have to admit, our trailer and our truck were never the same after camping there. I wouldn't say they were super rusty, but there were rust spots that definitely never went away after that. So you gotta keep that in mind. It's the price you pay for beach camping. We did it once and we loved it. We probably won't be back there, but it was one of the most memorable campsites we've stayed at. Next up is number 11, and this is Cherry Creek Road outside of Durango, Colorado. This campsite's to the west of Durango, but it sets you up as a good base camp if you want to be in the area. And there aren't many free campsites right near the heart of Durango. This is actually probably one of the closest ones. So if you want to go to Durango and do some free camping, Cherry Creek is probably your best bet. We have seen fifth wheels here and Class C's, and we towed our travel trailer there. But I don't know if a Class A could fit in this spot. Not because it's not big enough, but the entrance is a little steep and rocky. So if you don't have the clearance, or if it has just rained specifically, it's gonna be pretty hard to access up the steep entryway. You're gonna wanna keep that in mind, maybe scout it out in advance. But like I said, you're not gonna find a closer free campsite to Durango. It is a good site and just a little hard to access for the bigger rigs. So keep that in mind. Check it out though. We love Durango. It's probably our favorite town in America, and this is one of our favorite free campsites whenever we go there. All right guys, the first half of the list is down. Now we're getting into the good stuff. I try to get a little exercise out here while I'm doing this, but man, it's hot already. Here in Alabama in September, almost October, they say it's fall, but I'm convinced it's still summer. Let's get into number 10. Number 10 on the list is Craggy Wash, and this is in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Lake Havasu is a hot spot for RVers in the wintertime, and definitely there is a lot of free camping in the area. Craggy Wash though is our favorite of all the spots for a few reasons. It is a beautiful site and it has nice land formations around it, and you can hike right from your site and kind of explore the area. But also it's close to all the shopping on the north end of town. That means you'll be close to Walmart, Home Depot, their outlet mall type thing. So it gives you kind of a good central location if you are in Lake Havasu, because if you are camping in Lake Havasu, your intent is probably not to be out in the middle of nowhere, but it's more about being in the community. There are lots of RVers in the area. We're not really trying to get out and escape to nature whenever we're camping in Lake Havasu. We're really trying to be part of that RV community that is there camping. And Craggy Wash is great for that. We did see all size rigs there, but once it gets full in the wintertime, it's gonna be challenging to get a Class A or a fifth wheel there, just because you're gonna have to drive for a ways to scout out a spot, and then you're gonna have to maneuver into that spot, and it could be kind of tight. Doable for sure, but if you're in a larger rig and it's during the prime camping season, I would just say scout it out first. Number 9 on our list is Lake Hattie, which is in Lake Hattie, Wyoming, but it's right outside of Laramie. Laramie is one of the bigger college towns in Wyoming. There is a lot of great camping sites in Laramie, but Lake Hattie by far is the most scenic, the most enjoyable, the most chill. One of our favorite campsites of all time. Any size rig can camp at Lake Hattie, but if you have a small rig, you can get down on the beach and camp at some of the prime campsites. That's what we did. We absolutely loved it. It was so relaxing. We had the water right by our front door, set our chairs out on the beach. The dog could play in the water. Perfect situation in campground. One of my fondest memories to look back on and be excited about going there again. Number 8 on our list is from one of our other favorite towns in Colorado, and that's Pagosa Springs. Jackson Mountain Road is where the free campsite is located, and it is probably only 5 miles from downtown Pagosa Springs. In Pagosa Springs, there are the deepest thermal national hot springs in the world, not just the US. So great hot spring soaking there. But the campsite itself is in a beautiful wooded San Juan National Forest. The upside is that most rigs can fit in the first spot, which is pretty easy to spot. But the downside is there are only a few spots there. If you're in a big rig and if you don't get to that first spot, it's gonna be pretty hard to find another spot that can accommodate. If you are lucky enough to snag that first spot, you'll be able to get situated in the forested campsite, have streaming fast internet, and be able to drive downtown Pagosa Springs in just a few minutes. So this is a highly recommended site from us. We love Colorado, we love Pagosa Springs, and Jackson Mountain Road has been one of our favorite free campsites that we've been in over our 4 years of RV life. Next up is number 7, and this is North Creek outside of Zion National Park. Setting up camp at North Creek right outside of Zion was one of the best experiences. All size rigs can fit here, but let me tell you, it is ideal for vans and tents because it does get pretty crowded there during the peak season. So vans and tenters fill the spot up pretty quickly. We were able to easily navigate our 16-foot trailer there into a spot, and there was even a large fifth wheel near us who got a spot pretty easily. But beyond that, you're really gonna wanna scout it out. If it's not so crowded when you get there, definitely a larger rig can fit. But if you have a lot of smaller rigs spread out, it's gonna eat up those big spots. It's just a few miles from the entrance of Zion National Park. Even though the campsite, the free campsite, is busy, it pales in comparison to how busy it is camping inside Zion National Park. We've done both and we've thoroughly enjoyed both, but anytime we go back, we're gonna be going to North Creek from now on. All right, guys, I'm starting to work up a sweat out here. It is early morning still, and I can't believe how hot it is, but the list must go on. Next up is number 6, and that's Sacred White Shell Mountain. This is right outside of the Sand Dunes National Park in Colorado. The Great Sand Dunes are an amazing formation, and it's right in the middle of flatland Colorado, which is bizarre. These dunes are just beautiful white sand, and they go on for hundreds and hundreds of acres. So that in and of itself is beautiful. If you want to camp in the National Park campground, it's a good spot. We've camped there and it stays pretty busy. But if you're looking for a free campsite outside of the National Park, Sacred White Shell Mountain is by far our favorite choice. It's not very heavily trafficked out there. It's down a long dirt road that any size rig can access. And it puts you at the foot of a beautiful mountain, so the scenery is awesome too. I would scout it out in advance if you're in a bigger rig, because you never know if the spots are going to be open for big rigs. But if you're in a smaller rig, even a Class C, you should be able to find a spot pretty easily. And in addition to being by the great sand dunes and being free camping and having awesome internet, it's also an alien hotspot from what we hear. So if you're into UFO sighting, this, I believe it's the San Juan Valley, is an awesome place to scope out extraterrestrial life. Number 5 on the list is Snake River. This is a beautiful free campsite located right in between Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Park. It's kind of like one of those 2 for Tuesday things. You get access to both national parks and you get free camping. This free campsite, of all the ones on the list, has the most pristine vault toilets. These vault toilets are nicer than so many flush toilet bathrooms we've been in. Props to the National Park Service for keeping these things beautiful. The way the campsites are set up is there are probably 5 different entrances down the road, and down each entrance is a spot for 1 or 2 RVs or campers or tents. And each of those 5 different pull-offs have their own vault toilet. So awesome toilet amenities. I know it's not important for everyone, but seriously, to have clean toilets right by your tent or camper or van, huge plus in our mind. Overall, if you're visiting Grand Teton and Yellowstone National Park, this is one of our favorite spots. So check it out for sure. Number 4 on the list is probably one of the most epic sites we've stayed at, and that is Nomad View in Buffalo Gap, South Dakota, also known as a mile from the entrance of the Badland National Park. Awesome location. It also puts you on a cliff that overlooks thousands of acres of badlands, and it is so beautiful. One of our favorite things while we were camping here was to watch thunderstorms roll in from 50 miles away. You can just see them coming, and it is just an absolutely beautiful sight to see when you're out there camping in the middle of nowhere in the Badlands. The site can accommodate most size rigs, but our friends, the getaway couple, just tried to stay there in their 5th wheel. They went after a fresh rainstorm and they actually got stuck. So you got to know your rig, you got to know the conditions of the road, and then make your mind up whether you're going to try it or not, because it's definitely off-road. But with all that said, we've seen Class A's there, we've seen 5th wheels there, and we were able to easily access it in our trailer and truck whenever we went. Nomad View in Buffalo Gap Grassland, one of our favorite free campsites of all time. Number 3 on the list, we're getting down to the good stuff. This one is the Main Drag 525 in Sedona, Arizona. Here are the good things about the site. All size rigs can find a spot there if there is a spot to be found. So we've seen motorhomes, 5th wheels, vans, tents, we've seen them all. It situates you to be so close to Sedona, where you can obviously do hiking, you can do shopping, eating, so many things to do in Sedona. One of our favorite towns to camp in and visit, and if you know Sedona at all, it can be pricey. So getting a free campsite there is a huge plus. It also puts you close to Cottonwood and the ghost town of Jerome, Arizona. Multiple things you can do there on different days. Your schedule can definitely be full if that's what you're looking for. Now, the bad parts about this road or this campsite is that the road is washboarded. It's not bad because if you find a site within 1 or 3 miles, definitely doable. The road goes on for a long time. You can drive it down 10 miles and find a spot, but I just don't like driving down washboard roads for that long. So the spot we found was within 2 miles of the entrance. Number 2 on the list is a famous free camping hotspot in Texas. Maybe you can guess it before I say it, but it's Magnolia Beach. Beautiful beachfront camping that's so much less intense than Padre Island. We love Magnolia Beach. They have bathrooms on site, they have picnic tables, they have pavilions, but the best part in our mind is that the tide doesn't fluctuate as much as it does on the Gulf front campsites. This beach is actually on a bay that leads out into the Gulf, so it's much more relaxed. Our dog loved playing in the water. Everything about Magnolia Beach was very enjoyable. All size rigs can easily fit at Magnolia Beach. I don't think there's any obstruction at all that would prevent a large motorhome or fifth wheel from camping there. We saw a ton of them. It is flat beach, it is hard beach, so you don't really have to worry about sinking in the sand too much, but definitely know your rig and gauge it yourself. The downside is, though, it is a popular spot. So there are definitely gonna be other campers there. This is more like staying at a campground because of that. It's not out in the middle of nowhere. You don't have the spot all to yourself. You're sharing it with other campers. In our experience, they've been completely respectable and very courteous. No one was making loud noises or anything or running generators through the night. So our experience was great at Magnolia Beach. If you're going through Texas and want a beautiful free beachfront campsite, check it out. All right, guys, we've made it to the #1 spot. I think I've lost a pound while I've been walking out here. Maybe I should have just done it standing still, but hey, it's early morning and I wanted some exercise, so don't hold it against me. I know some people don't like these walking videos, but we just got a gimbal, so it helps with the steadiness, I guess. Let me know if you've noticed the gimbal. #1, favorite free campsite of all time for us personally, but also in our mind because it's very accessible for all size rigs. And that is the Wedge Overlook in Utah. This is north of Moab. It's what they call the Little Grand Canyon. We were able to park right on the edge of the canyon and be blown away with the gorgeous views and the complete lack of campers near us. There were probably 5 other campers there, but the camping area is very big. You can spread out, and we felt like we had the whole place to ourselves. Olivia really pushed us to go here because I was struggling to find a free campsite in the area we were traveling during the time, and every time I pulled this site up to do the research on it, I was turned away because it says 20 miles of dirt road driving before you access the campsite. That immediately makes me think, oh, I'm gonna go see if there's something else out there. But Olivia thought, well, we should give it a try. And I'm so glad because that dirt road was nicer than some interstates we've been on. It's nicer than just, it is a beautiful dirt road. They keep it, I guess, oiled so the dust doesn't fly up. And there was not one problem whatsoever towing or driving down that road. There wasn't one stretch of washboarded road. It was awesome. So huge props to the road leading in. Even though it's dirt, you will find that it's nicer than most paved roads. Once you get to the camping area, there are lots of different sites you can choose from. And the main camping area might not be conducive to huge rigs. There are camping areas right outside there though that bigger rigs can camp at. But I would say a Class C could easily find a campsite in the main camping area that overlooks the canyon. There is a bathroom facility on site. There is, despite it being 20 miles down a dirt road, great internet access too. Everything about the Wedge Overlook was amazing. So it is our highest recommended free campsite that we can recommend. And if you are ever going to Moab or leaving Moab and heading to the north, make sure you check it out. It will definitely be a great experience. And remember, anything that we said in this video is on the article we wrote. So you can reference that article in the future without having to scroll through this video. And the article has links to the sites as well. I am gonna go cool off in the AC now and see you guys out at the California RV show next week. So lots of fun stuff coming up. Thank you for taking this morning walk with me. Let me know what you think about this gimbal. Let me know if you think if it worked or not. And Tell us your favorite free campsite in the comments below. We'll see y'all next time.